As I continue to live my life facing up, I keep reinforcing and finding it to be so true that there are these three questions that undermine all of our human narratives. And remember, as human beings, our tendency is to view our life as resting on the stories we tell about our life. And this is one of our problems. We're like the Wile E. Coyote, where he gets shoved out over the cliff by the roadrunner, and he's out there and he starts building a house in thin air. But of course, he's building a foundation on thin air. And that's sort of what it's like when we seek to base our life on the stories we tell, whether that's a personal story or a very ancient religious story. All stories get chewed up. There are many stories, but there are three especially clear stories in my mind right now that illustrate the way that in Yarus, we are lost, we don't know what's going on. Vanitas, vanity, we can't reach the happy ending, there's no happy ending. And Rapax, this longing that we have for this perfect community where everyone knows your name and they're always glad you came. There are three stories that illustrate each one of these specters, as I call them, that ruin our stories. And I wanted to just point this out to you because, again, it's just becoming increasingly clear to me that this is what we're running from as human beings. This is what we don't face up to. So let's start with Inyarus, ignorance. And for this, we look no further than the epic TV show Lost. And that was back in the early 2000s. Maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't. It starts so good. These people crash land in a plane, and they wake up in the flaming ruins of a plane crash. And they don't know how they got there. They're not sure who all these people are around them. They're on an island. They don't know where the island is. It's a mysterious island with all these strange features like smoke monsters, and I think they run across, polar bears, and and then on the other side of the island there are the others, and it's such a great story. As you go through the story, however, it has a very unsatisfying ending. What I think grips us, though, about our lives as we watch Lost is that it's a picture of our experience. It's it touches something deep about how we feel about our existence. We wake up on this planet. We were just plopped down in this family that we didn't choose. Who are these people? What am I? What is going on here? Is there a rescue on the way? Are we stuck? And then there's others all around. Some of them are safe. Some of them are dangerous. I mean, so Lost, to me, was a perfect illustration of our dilemma as a species. We really are lost in the cosmos, in spite of all of our advances, all that we see, all of our explanations. I mean, we're learning more and more, but it's like the more we learn, the more we are sure that we are lost. And if you're lost, then how can there be a true story? So Inyarus undermines the true story. The second story I'll point to, it deals with vanitas, the vanity of life that we all experience. I had a chance recently to go see Hadestown, and spoiler alert here, if you haven't seen it, please go see it. It's so good, and I'll try not to give it all away because it's worth seeing. But in this story, it's about Orpheus who going down into the underworld, and anyway, the ending of it is what really hits you in the gut. Because rather than, that you're longing all the way through this play for a happy ending. You want him to escape Hades and unite with his lover and live happily ever after. And at the end, and boy, spoiler alert, I am giving the whole thing away. So I would say just fast forward if you want to see Hadestown. But in the end, it doesn't end like we want it to end. It rewinds and goes back, and you start all over, and it's like, wait a minute, where's this happy ending I was longing for? And that Broadway play is so good for so many reasons, but the ending is one of them. you just like, why do we have to start over? Why can't we ever get to the happy ending? Of course, there are many, many examples of this around us, of people who have noticed the fact that no matter how hard you try, you can never reach what this permanent bliss that we're searching for. So we have to imagine it in life beyond life, in heaven or something like this. In this life, happiness always seems like a carrot on a stick. You can reach for it, but you can't grasp it. And so vanitas undermines the idea of the happy ending. And so how can you have a truly satisfying story without a happy ending? Inyaros destroys the true story. Vanitas wipes out the happy ending. And then the third one is the idea of coming into this place where we are in a happy family, that this longing that we have to belong, to be part of a community where we fit and everything is at peace and okay. And I've mentioned this one before, but the movie that I think really grabbed us viscerally as we watch it was The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is this place where it's kill or be killed. We're stuck in this game or this existence, the players are, where you either kill or you are killed. There's only one winner. And I think that touches us because we feel that too in this life. I call that Rawpox. And that undermines the idea of being in a setting where everybody just gets along and we're all at peace and harmony, and like the old Coke commercial where we stand in a circle and sing, "I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony." As much as we wish it weren't so, the truth is that even when we look at something as beautiful as nature, if you look closely, you'll find everything vying to be itself. And you'll find that, like we can no more deny the fact that we are self-centered than that we have a center of gravity. I mean, we can't get around that. When God created the world and said to Adam, "Kill and eat," evidently he accidentally hit CC all because it's a food fight out there. And we experience this in our relationships, and it's frustrating. Why are you being so selfish? Well, we're all selfish, and this just ruins, there's always something that ruins this perfect happiness that we all long for. We get on each other's nerves. We can't all just get along. That's Rawpox. And so, these three movies, from Lost to Hadestown to The Hunger Games, I think they illustrate these three specters that I keep talking about: Inyarus, Vanitas, Rawpox, and also show the need to face them. I mean, like, what are your choices? I mean, you can hide from them, but I don't think you can escape them. They undermine our stories, and since we base our life on the story, they undermine our life, and this, we just can't live with that, which is why we turn to escape. And I have done a whole series on the Devil's Playground, where we go to escape, but we have lots of ways to avoid really facing life as we actually perceive it. There is a way through, and it's what I call facing up, and I've been talking about that in a lot of other videos, but it at the core, it is about making an existential shift to where your story isn't the foundation of your life, but you really learn to embrace life in an existential way so that your story becomes an expression of your life. Still very much, I think, an essential part of being human, but no longer a foundation, but an expression. And if you want to, find out more about that, stay tuned. I'm actually working right now on a course that I'm calling Orientation, that I hope to release. October 1 is my goal date to release this to you. But of course, all of the videos that I've been doing are all about all of this, so you could probably piece it together if you go back and watch them. But there is a way, I think, to face each of these specters, and rather than, when you get over the fact that they devour your story, you learn that they actually open a door to a new way of being that is gives answers to these questions that we have, our hunger for meaning and for purpose and belonging. There is a way to get there without basing that on the story, but letting the story be an expression of those things. It's what I call facing up, and I'm excited about it. I've been living that way for almost a decade now. So it's not just some flash in the pan idea that I had. It's something that I'm eager to share with people because it just seems to me like if we're gonna get along, if we're gonna survive as a species, we're gonna have to get past the idea that our stories are reality, capital R. But how do you do that? Well, that's what facing up is all about.